Fans of horror games have gotten lots of great reasons to celebrate over the past few years, with the recent Resident Evil remakes doing fairly well and lots of AA horror games coming out of the woodwork every time you turn around. It's definitely a great time to be a horror game fan. With that, one of the best pieces of news to make the rounds lately has got to be the rumored PS5 exclusive Silent Hill revival. While Konami hasn't exactly been the apple of gamers' eyes lately, after their debacle with Silent Hills, the cancelled Kojima-led Silent Hill sequel, and their assumed switch of emphasis to pachinko machines and Yu-Gi-Oh!, you couldn't be blamed for thinking that Konami is just done with doing much of anything that matters to fans of the classic psychological horror series. After all, they've been doing well as a company from the financial perspective. Investing time and resources into big-budget AAA games hasn't really been on the menu lately, and they have shown that milking their old classic IPs with collections and re-releases seems to have been fine for them. Almost nothing in business ever stays the same, however, and while Konami is many things, stupid is not one of them. There is clearly money to be made with Silent Hill as a gaming franchise. As fate would have it, things might just be turning around for the keeper of the Silent Hill name. Just last year, the president of Konami Europe publicly stated that they'll eventually get back to working on more of their, quote, globally known IP. This could mean anything from Bomberman to Metal Gear, but given the public perceptions surrounding Konami's recent kerfuffles, it's not too much of a stretch to assume he's talking about Silent Hill primarily, or at least including Silent Hill in that group of IPs to which he referred. He continued on by saying, quote, even with new platforms coming out, we believe high-end console games are the most important. We challenge for innovative ideas and technology within our console games and apply them to other devices. So we will continue to put effort into our console games, unquote. He also went on to note that they, quote, plan to work on projects with other globally known IPs in the near future. This conversation raised more than its fair share of eyebrows last year, as it does appear to be an about-face for Konami, at least in terms of their perspective on the console gaming space. So, while a brand new, fully fledged Silent Hill game has yet to be officially confirmed, we do have plenty of reason to suspect one is on the way. Whether or not it's something we'll see much of in the next few years remains to be seen, as it is likely in early stages of pre-production at this point. But there are plenty of reasonable things we can probably expect from a new game in the series. First and foremost, we can likely expect a return to quality Silent Hill territory. Now, I'm not going to sit here and bash Silent Hill Homecoming and Downpour like some might, as both of those games did make valiant efforts in some areas. But let's be honest here, the better games were the original Silent Hill 2, 3, and 4. These games were made by various combinations of Konami veterans, the talent at Team Silent, and other folks that came and went over the years. The amount of voices repeating this fact to Konami over the last 10 years is surely a deafening cacophony by now, so surely they know that the original 4 games were the best, largely because of the talent behind them. More tangible evidence to support this theory is that Masahiro Ito, a major player in the creature and level design from the original 4 games, has stated that he is indeed working on a new title as a core member in a tweet this past January. While he didn't explicitly say that this new title is a Silent Hill game, he did make a point to opine that he hopes the game, quote, doesn't get cancelled, which could very easily be seen as a little jab at the downfall of Konami's last attempt to revive the series. While the Silent Hill series did move on without him after Silent Hill 4, Ito has been working on other stuff like Nightcry and Metal Gear Survive, so he is likely poised to do a great job, if he were to be working on the game we think he is. This also implies that other members, perhaps from Team Silent, are back and working on the game. Many of them are either still at Konami or ended up over at Japan Studio under Sony's first-party umbrella. What was a split in the original team of Silent Hill developers could now prove to be a perfect alliance if other rumors of Konami and Sony cozying up to each other on behalf of Silent Hill are true. Another major factor we can likely rely on is that this new Silent Hill game will probably be a reboot of some sort. as much time has passed since the last game and the identity of the franchise has become foggier than the streets of the town itself, a reboot would make a lot of sense at this point. But aside from just being a logical assumption, some industry insiders and fairly credible leakers have come forward saying as much. Namely, Aesthetic Gamer on Twitter, who has been right about things in the past, seems to be under the impression that not just one but two Silent Hill games could be in the works, one being a spin-off experimental narrative-style game, while the other, the one we are primarily concerned with right now, being the full-blown reboot. If this is true, it almost seems to create more questions than answers. What sort of reboot are we talking about here? A complete hard reboot from scratch? Or maybe a softer approach that doesn't erase the past but does transform the series into something new? More details are needed to have much of an idea on that, but the probability of this game trying to reboot the series in some form or fashion is certainly not a crazy one. Honestly, at this point, it would probably be more shocking if it weren't. As if the flurry of rumors weren't enticing enough as they were, rumors of the game being a possible PS5 exclusive have surfaced recently, despite an unsuccessful attempt by Konami to quell the conversation last month. As the rumor goes, it seems that Konami is effectively hands-off from the development outside of facilitating the rights of the intellectual property to Sony. This would be interesting and plausible enough on its own, as Konami does seem to be a fan of delegating the hard work these days. But it's also worth considering a separate string of rumors that have popped up as well, that suggest Sony was trying to buy the rights to Silent Hill, Castlevania, and Metal Gear from Konami outright. As outlandish an idea as that is, Sony is crazy enough to try it, and who knows, maybe Konami agreeing to lease the properties out to Sony in the form of third-party exclusive games might have been the compromise that was ultimately reached. This would give credence to both strings of rumors and make them both make sense. And if it is going to be a Sony exclusive, we can expect a very polished game, optimized for that hardware, the same way the rest of their exclusives tend to be. The final nail for the coffin of doubt around a new Silent Hill game could be that Kojima is likely involved. We all could see how excited he was to be working on the series back when PT came out, but even after that, Kojima has publicly expressed his interest in horror and working on a new horror game. While it might seem crazy for Kojima to be working with Konami again so soon, if the rumors about Sony being an intermediary are true, who Kojima has an excellent relationship with, suddenly it's not so crazy. Lots of questions still remain about this upcoming game, up to and including whether it even exists, as the rumors seem to suggest very early talks between the entities involved. We can largely expect it to be a while before we hear much in terms of official announcements. So don't hold your breath right now. But if I were a betting man, I'd say we might just be on our way to another authentic trip into the streets, buildings, and inner psyches of Silent Hill at some point down the road. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed and would like to see more, feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to ensure you'll be notified when new videos go up.